Hi there, today I'd like to share with you some thoughts on why competing on price is a bad business idea. Okay, so why is competing on price such a bad idea? Well, if it's all right with you, I'd like to take a little bit of a journey into my last business, which was a web design and marketing agency. And when I started the agency, I was dirt cheap, literally dirt cheap. And I was working silly hours. Yes, I was picking up work, but I was working long hours and not getting paid nearly enough for the work that was involved in building a website. So my business coach at the time said, well, you need to double your fees. And I have to admit, I thought, gosh, double my fees, that's a bit steep. But the next person I spoke with, I had an appointment with to talk about a website, I gave her a price which was just under twice what I was charging previously. And she just said, okay, let's do it. And at that point, I nearly fell off my chair. Now, I'm not suggesting that you double your fees, but I hadn't spotted that I was way too cheap. And to be honest, I got crappy customers who didn't appreciate the work that I was doing because they weren't necessarily paying a great deal for it. And to them, it was almost disposable money. To me, it meant a lot, but to them, not at all. And this is why competing on price is a bad idea, because oftentimes you will, as a result, attract crappy clients who only want a cheap job. They won't value you. They won't value your work. And in my experience, people who want stuff done on the cheap want Rolls-Royce service for the price of a Kia. Nothing wrong with Kias, but they're considerably cheaper than Rolls-Royces. They want crappy car service for luxury car, for a crappy car price, but luxury car service. So what I'm urging you to do is to not get involved in competing on price. I've been there, done that. It's not clever. And I always used to say to somebody, if they ever came to me and said, what's your best price? I always gave them a price that was a lot higher than what I normally charge, and then went in with something like, but for you, and if you can keep this between you and I can do it for X. And that's what I wanted to charge them. That was my regular price. Now, interesting enough, only a minority of my people actually bought based on that, and those that did felt like they were getting a good deal. But what I didn't want to do was compete on price. I didn't want to go in with a low, silly price that wasn't going to be value for me and was only going to help them. Because in my experience, if they ask for a low price, they're after a cut price product or service, and you just won't be valued as a provider. Not only that, competing on price is a way to the bottom. I mean, why would you want to slash your profits for the sake of just winning the work? It's pointless doing work if you're not actually making any money on it, especially if you're running a service where margins can be high, but particularly when you're selling products, because products have very fixed margins and can often have very tight margins. So why would price become an issue? Why would you want to cut your own throat effectively just for the sake of winning the turnover? I can promise you, you might think you're doing your business good just to get them on board as a client. But if you do a cheap job first time, or you supply them dirt cheap first time, I promise you that's what they're going to expect from there on in. Just selling or doing a cheap job for the sake of onboarding a client or getting a new client is a short-sighted view, because that will become their expectation. And if there's any difference in that, they'll be off. They'll be off to talk to the next mug willing to give them the best price, willing to give them the just cheapest possible deal. And to quite frankly, why would you work for no profit? You're in business. You're there to make a profit, whether that's, profit to give yourself a big house or profit to put food on the table. Whatever you do, don't compromise here, because ultimately there's plenty of people out there. There are plenty of customers out there. You don't have to deal with what my friend Gary calls the price shoppers from hell. You don't need them. They will come around, they will metaphorically kick the tires, hammer you down for the cheapest possible deal. They'll feel great because they felt like they've nailed you. You'll feel crappy because you realise you're not making any money. Nobody really wins, except the person who thinks they've got a good deal. And it's not you. And that's not what you're in business for. You're not in business to give stuff away. You're in business to make a profit. Now, I know that people don't like the word profit. It's considered a little bit, dirty in some aspects. But ultimately, if a business doesn't make a profit, you've just got a blooming hobby. Don't go there. And don't take on board clients who will take you there. Charge what you think it's worth to the market. Charge a little bit more if you think it is worth a little bit more. But work with those customers who value what you do, willing to pay the price that you're asking. Make sure they're getting a great customer experience. They get incredible value for money, even though they might be paying that slight bit more. But whatever you do, avoid the price shoppers from hell. Don't compete on price. It is a race to the bottom. Never get into a bidding match with somebody else just for the sake of winning the business, because that kind of client you don't need. They don't value what you do, and if they come back to you, that's what they're going to expect again and again and again and again. And you'll cut your own throat, you'll make yourself miserable, and you'll do your business no favours if you go there. So, food for thought, I hope. Never ever, like I said, compete on price. It just isn't worth it. I've been there, I've done that. I know other people who've been there and done that, and we've all vowed to never ever do it again. So, as I said, if you like this video, please click on the like button, share it out far and wide if you know somebody who could probably do with hearing this. And remember to click on the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. We make one of these videos every single week, and if you enable notifications, YouTube will let you know. And like I said earlier, if you've got any questions, comments, please put them in the comments below. We always respond to comments and questions on our social media. But that's it. I really appreciate you tuning in. I really hope I've given you some food for thought there. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.